Well, hello out there! I think it's time we have ourselves a little discussion. Now, we're going to talk about shit hitting the fan. We got to be ready. We've got to prepare. Would you agree? Well, greetings, YouTube. LMS Tactical here. You know, I was just going through some videos, and I was looking at a video by Demcad, D-E-M-C-A-D. He's got some really good videos, in spite of the fact that I've left him a couple of messages, and I don't think he ever responded. So I might be pissed at him. I'm not really sure, but I'm just kidding. I would never be pissed at anybody. I'm too much of a softie. But I am sensitive. He's got good videos. Anyways, I was watching one of his videos, and he was talking. One of the subjects he covered was, you know, being cognizant and aware of things like diarrhea and getting sick and a shit hit the fan situation. Man, you know, a lot of this stuff's been said, but I'm going to throw my 2 cents in here. That is big time important. Hygiene in general. You know, a lot of us, we get caught up in the reloading ammunition or buying ammunition, looking for the best deals, you know, doing the whole weapon thing. And the fact of the matter is when you're in a, you know, if we get into a situation, and there are various levels, you can see my videos, I've talked about some of this, I'm not going to go over it again, but there are various levels of shit hit the fan scenarios, everything from full-blown, you know, Mad Max type shit nationwide to, you know, 3 days of LA 1992 riot type conditions to Katrina and everything in between, you know, to full-blown worldwide warfare. All of those are certainly possible, but the reality is, while I certainly don't want to take away from your focus in any one direction, I do want you to, or I suggest that you stay as realistic as possible and understand that the reality of you engaged in a sustained gunfight and having, you know, dead bodies all over the neighborhood, that kind of thing. You know, you could literally, and many of you have, go into a combat theater of operations. I'm talking downrange in Afghanistan or even previously in Iraq when we had people down there, and full-on combat zones, and not see the type of combat that a lot of shit hit the fan preppers are anticipating. I mean, I actually believe people are thinking that they're going to be, you know, shooting out of the upper story window and yelling down to their wife, you know, hand me up more ammo, sector 5, more, you know, come on. Hopefully you're not going to see any kind of life or death situation like that. Chances are you will, depending on how bad things get, but I don't think it's, like I said, I don't want to belabor the issue, but you are more apt to run into other logistical problems and physical problems than you will, you know, firefights with, you know, roving bands of zombies. Now, I'll probably get some kickback on that, but, you know, before you berate me, go back and listen to what I said. I'm saying that it's a matter of likelihood. You're more likely to have to be dealing with a really bad case of the shits, quite frankly, than you are, you know, 3 or 4 days of sustained combat in your driveway. So Demcad really makes a good point about paying attention and being cognizant of the health situation in your bug out location or your bug in location, wherever you are. Having strict discipline when it comes to washing your hands. And I mean, somebody's going to have to be the leader of your location. If you're in your home, and there's 3 of you, somebody's got to be in charge. If you've combined neighbors in a neighborhood situation, somebody's got to be in charge. Hopefully you have somebody that is got some medical background, and they are going to be in charge of that type of thing, and they can educate the people. And hopefully you've had meetings and such. But it's a continual thing. There are other videos out there. Southern Prepper, I always talk about him because in my mind, he's just one of the best. I mean, I haven't seen any of his videos for quite a while, but when I first became involved in prepping, he was one of the guys that I checked out, and I like his whole approach. And he talks about, you can go check out his videos, and you'll see that he talks about, entire positions in the neighborhood, and you've got security people, and you've got medical people, and logistics and communications. That's the way to do it. That's the way we're going to do it. That's the way the people that are involved in my world are going to do it. Those of us that are prepping. But yeah, you have to be aware of things. You've got to search out these videos. I'm not going to reinvent the wheel here, and I'm not the expert. I do have the books that provide the answers for the things that I don't know. There are military manuals that you can get online. Go to anywhere, cheaperthandirt.com, whatever. Check out their military manuals. You Google this stuff. Find out how to dispose of bodies. I just did a video on what to do with dead bodies. I mean, something that a lot of people haven't thought about. Hopefully we never run into it, but you need to know this stuff now. You don't want to be figuring this shit out in the midst of a crisis. Where do you dig your latrines? You don't want to be digging holes and having people in your compound, so to speak, shitting uphill from where your water source is. And what about the flies and the maggots and that kind of thing that are going to be getting all over the body that you failed to bury properly 50 feet away, or you created some sort of a latrine or an outhouse, 40 feet uphill, and now your water's contaminated. Now you've got serious, serious dysentery. That will wipe out your entire neighborhood, compound, village, house, or tent. It'll just shut you down. I was in Egypt when I was a paratrooper in the Army in 1981 at Operation Bright Star. And man, I ate some Egyptian food because, long story short, I don't want to bore you, but roaming through the desert, come across some Egyptian paratroopers in a tent, and we had been briefed on don't touch with your left hand, don't show the soles of your feet, don't turn down things that are offered to you. And these guys wanted us to eat with them. Took a few bites of whatever it was they were eating, and I had the shit so bad. It was just about biblical. I mean, seriously. They almost medevaced me out of that situation, but thank God I ran into a Special Forces medic who seriously tightened up my sphincter with some heavy-duty doses of something, man. It's kind of a funny story, but I digress. The point is that will put you out of operation. It'll put you down. You get a case of the shits, you're out of action. And if you're the strong one in your family, in your group, in your circle, you're gone. Now you've endangered people. So constantly wash your hands. Here's a good example. One of my sons just walked in here before I started this video, and I hadn't seen him all day. He goes, "Hey, I'm not going to kiss you, man. I'm sick." This is what we do in our house. I'm not saying we're heroes and we're awesomely intelligent, but you got to be cognizant of this stuff. My guys know that if you're sporting a contagious disease, even a little cold, it's not funny to come up and hug me and kiss me and then tell me later you're sick and now I got to miss work, and then it affects the finances. In a shit hit the fan scenario, this could cost lives. So when you're sick, you got to be smart enough to not infect the rest of the people. You got to isolate yourself. Take care of business. Do the right thing. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I probably forgot some stuff, but you know what? If I forgot something, that's what I love about this whole YouTube thing. I mean, clearly you can see I've become addicted to it, and I'm messing around with the video intros and trying to incorporate a little giggle here and there. But the truth is, this is a great thing, a great way to exchange information. Operative word is exchange. And the way we do that is you throw in some comments, which, you know, I hope that if you're watching this, you leave a comment either, yeah, hey, that's really good. You know, I wasn't too happy with it. Here, better yet, here's a suggestion. How about a response video? That'd be awesome. I just met a guy through YouTube, Dr. Jim. If you look at my videos, you'll see his responses. He may respond to this one. That's what I think the whole thing's about, man. I mean, we're all in this together. No reason to panic. Jim Morrison said it. No one gets out alive. But it's not about dying. I'm talking about living, right? So let's stick together. Let's interact. Let's talk about it. LMS Tactical out. Stay alert. Stay alive.
Well, hello